Hello everyone, my name is Jolene Shannon, and today I will be doing a professional development on building a community in the online classroom. A little bit about me. I am one of the lead faculty at Ross College Online for the HAS program. I have my master's degree in education from Ashford University with an emphasis in online technology. I have my bachelor's degree also from Ashford University in healthcare education. And I have my Associate of Science in Medical Assisting from Daymare College in Nashville, Tennessee. I have over 13 years of experience in clinical healthcare and over 6 years of experience in higher education, both online and on ground for several different institutions. Today we are going to be talking about building a community in the online classroom. I think this is very important because being an online educator can be very different from being an on-ground educator because you're not seeing the students face to face every day. So you're kind of forced to find a way to build a relationship with your students in the online environment, and that can pose some difficulties. So we're going to talk about how to get through those and ways to make your online classroom just as much of a community as the on-ground classroom can be. So first we're going to talk about what is a community. Well, the dictionary defines a community as a social group of any size whose members reside in a specific locality or share government and often have cultural and historical heritage. So our community is our online classrooms where the educators and our students are who we're building that community relationship with. Online education has a social group of students that can reside in many different areas. As we know, our students come from all over different states, but we all have that common location in the online classroom for the given class that you teach. So it can be really difficult to build a community at a distance for the educator and for the students because the computer and technology such as iPads and tablets and smartphones is pretty much your only way to communicate with students. So there's definitely some things that we can do to bridge that gap. So what are some of the factors to consider when you're trying to build a community in the online classroom? Well, one of the things that we have to consider is the age of our students. In college right now, you see all kinds of different ages. A long time ago, it used to be people just coming out of high school that wanted to further their education. But nowadays, with job demands, people needing promotions, things like that, people wanting to go into different career fields later in life, we see all kinds of different ages, as you know. So we need to consider that because with different ages means different expectations. So, for instance, if you have a student that's just out of high school or just a few years out of high school, you know that they're part of the technology age. They probably have used a lot of computers because in the public school systems right now for high school, they use technology for everything. I have two high school students right now as my children, and I know that they do a lot of their work and submissions of their work on an iPad, which is distributed at the beginning of the year. So it's crazy that, we used to bring home books, and now we bring home iPads. So these students are going to probably have much more experience using technology. So they're going to know how to get into the classroom. It's going to be easy for them to navigate through for the most part. And then we're going to have students that are kind of middle-aged, maybe. Maybe they're in their 30s and not quite middle-aged, so they have some technology background, but maybe not quite as much as others. And then we're going to have students even into their 40s and 50s that are trying to maybe get that promotion, so they're getting, their bachelor's degree or something like that. And maybe they don't have as much experience with technology at all, or at least with online classrooms. So we need to keep that in mind when we have our students. We need to kind of that first week of class, usually we have an introduction discussion, maybe get to know them where they're at in their career, where they're at in their life, so you can kind of just at that first week see where you're at with what the ages are of your student population. We also need to consider the personal situations of our students. We have a lot of single parents that are coming back to school. So maybe they're working full-time jobs, plus they're taking care of their kids on their own, plus they're trying to go to school. So there can be some difficulties there, and we need to make room for those students' situations. Family life for the students is kind of the same thing. We need to make sure that we understand where they're at. Are they on their own? Are they married with a family? What struggles might they have? And lastly, the cultures of our students. We now more than ever have more students with different ethnic backgrounds. So we need to consider that when we're speaking with our students, when we're communicating with our students, that we're as professional as we can be to make them feel at home. So how do these factors play a role in building a community? Well, like I mentioned before, time constraints for the students to participate in community activities. They might have time constraints if they have a busy schedule, full-time jobs, part-time jobs, kids, things like that. How computer savvy are the students? This will depend on how much experience they've had with technology, their age, things that we already discussed, and what are they comfortable participating in. Some students are fine going in and out of discussions or submitting assignments, but if you offer additional activities in your classroom, such as lectures and things that I'm going to go into here in a minute, we need to make sure that they're understanding how to use those tools if you do offer those additional things in your classroom. Social media sites that can be used to build a community in the online classroom. This is definitely something that you can consider to add into your classroom to help build a better community, especially with the students that are technology experienced, that are using social media sites like Facebook and Twitter and things like that. One of the things that I have worked on, and I'm going to minimize this really quick so I can show you. This is a Facebook page that I created off of my personal page. Now, if you do this, your students won't see your personal page necessarily or have to be friends with you on your personal page. They can be friends with you and you can add them just as a student in this Facebook page. And this is just kind of a pilot page I created as an example. One of the classes I teach is called Medical Office Technologies. So I created a little classroom here. You can go to your personal page and just add it as an additional group or a page. And you can post like videos on Facebook or reminders. Therefore, your students can get these little reminders on their smartphone. They're always checking their phones to look at Facebook or to tweet or to do whatever. So instead of having to wait until they log into the online classroom, they can get these little messages sent to them and it can help remind them, help make them feel like they're part of a group. They'll see it more often, so it will kind of encourage them to get in the classroom. So for instance, you can write something like, hey everyone, make sure that you get your initial discussion post in by this evening. And then just quick post it, publish it. They get an alert on their phone if they're part of your group. And there you go. I've used these Facebook pages before in other classrooms, and it is a way to just kind of give them that extra reminder, give them that extra community, make them feel like they're part of a group. Twitter is another one that you can use. I personally do not use Twitter. I've tried it before, but I never really liked it. But a lot of people do like Twitter. But it's the same thing. You can create a Twitter group within your personal Twitter for a classroom and you can send out tweets as reminders or maybe funny articles or something that has to do with your classroom content for that week. And it's just another way that you can build that community with students that do use Twitter. Another one is if you wanted to make a blog or a wiki, which is kind of like a blog page, you can do this to help promote group activities. I've done this before. It's not as popular as the social media groups because they get those reminders on their phones, but it's still just an additional place that they can go with more content, more activity. And it's just something to keep in mind. So, community within the online classroom. Robert Woods wrote an article about building community, and he suggested that building community with the technology that is available already within your classroom. So sometimes we do not have to even go to Facebook or Twitter if you do not want to. You can just utilize the technologies that are already within your classroom. So what technology should I use in my class to help build community? Well, every week we have weekly discussions. Sometimes we have more than one. And it's an area where all the students get together and see everybody's posts and they reply to each other's posts and they talk about the discussion for that given week. And this is really popular in the classroom, as you know, because it's a place where students can really state their opinions on the subject matter. They feel like they're an individual. Yeah, they can respond to other students and talk about what they think about what they said. And it's just a great way, to build a community in the online classroom. I feel like that the discussion area is probably the best place for learning in our classrooms at Ross because that's where you're actually giving individual attention that everybody is seeing. So we need to take advantage of these discussions in our classroom. So for instance, this is a discussion in one of the classes that I teach here at Ross. It's a discussion that's already gone by, so the students aren't currently working on it. And they're talking about the differences between the internet and extranet. So some of the things that you can do, like say this is this week and I'm replying to Caitlin, she's talking about how extranet is linked with the internet and different things. So I can say, Caitlin, great points. Maybe class, check out this video on the differences. I'm sorry, my hands aren't working today. On the differences between extranet and internet. And then you can go to YouTube, when I've already looked this up for the purpose of this video. But there's some really cool videos here that you can post inside the discussion that can kind of further the students' learning on the topic by using the technology that's there. And I always try to look for one that's under 5 minutes because, the students don't want to sit there forever. Internet, intranet, and extranet. Here's a good one. And if I click on that, I'm going to stop it here. You can just click up here on the browser. You can copy that link right there, go back into your discussion, paste it right into your discussion, and when you post it, it's going to show up right there, and all the students have to do is click on that. So we can use the videos, within the classroom. And I'm going to go ahead and delete that because this discussion is already over. There's also things here where you can embed an image. So if you find an image, like if it's for anatomy and physiology and you want to maybe post an image of a broken bone or a diagram of the human body, you can just copy that image that you look up and embed it right here and it will show up. So again, you can even link an article. If you find an interesting article, you can say, hey, I found this article that talks about these differences, and then you can post that link so the students can just click on that link and go right to the article. So there's a lot of different things that we can do here in our classroom even. without even having to go outside of the classroom to make the discussions more interesting, to make the students respond more, to make it feel like more of a community. Some other things that you can do that's already located inside your online classroom are live chats. I do this a lot in some of the other classes I teach. Many online colleges and classrooms have the ability to do a live classroom, and we actually have that in Ross. It's called the Big Blue Button. It's a conference section of the classroom that I will show you. You can actually set up a live lecture if you want to do a review maybe for the week, or if you want to just make a video to send to the students. And it's another place that they can go and actually talk with you one-on-one and make them feel like they are in a traditional on-ground classroom. You can use webcams to show your face, and they can do it as well. They can chat with you on the conference tool. So it can be a really great community building tool inside your classroom. And let's go ahead and look at that. Here's the classroom I was showing you earlier in the discussion area. Over here on the tabs where you have your modules discussions, there's a tab called conferences. And if you click on that, right now it says there's no conferences. You can add a conference. You can say, I just want it to be 30 minutes. You can offer recording for the conference and then share the link with the students that maybe couldn't be there for it. And you can invite your course members. I'm not going to invite any because obviously I'm not going to do that right now, but you can invite all of your course members, let them know the date, write anything for the description in here, say, hey everybody, we're having a review for the test that's on Tuesday. Please come, Tuesday, or please come Sunday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern time and join me, whatever you want to say. And then you update it and there's your conference. And you can start it. And I'm not gonna go through all of it. I think I could probably do a complete professional development video just on how to use the Big Blue Button, which I might do at some point. But in here you can upload PowerPoints, you can upload videos. There's a place that shows where everybody, like right now it says I'm here, it'll show everybody that's attending. They can raise their hand to ask a question. They can chat down here in the chat box. Hi, I'm here. And there's a lot of different tools in this where you can make a live chat session. So those can be very, very rewarding and very effective in the online classroom. So what are some other technologies that I can use in my class to help build a community? We have announcements in our classroom and updates. We are required at Ross to post an announcement at the beginning of every week saying what assignments are due for the week. But who's to say that we have to stop there? Why not in the middle of the week post an announcement, saying how much you're enjoying everybody's discussion posts. You can even put a video inside the announcement section of the classroom. There's lots of things that you can do there when you're adding an announcement. It has all of the same tools that our discussion area has, which I showed you guys earlier. You can embed images, you can post a video, you can make a video, you can change the text, you can make it colorful. Give them an update, remind everybody of something that's due, add a video that has to do with the content for that week. There's just endless possibilities there of helping the students to feel like they're part of the classroom, reminding them of things that they need to do, keeping them in the loop. These are all very important things. So again, what are some other technologies that you can use? Of course, there's email within the classroom. You can send out email reminders of assignments that are due, or just an encouraging email saying, everybody turn in their assignments on time this week, super job. A lot of the times we just use our email when a student has a question and then we respond to them, but who's to say you have to stop there? Send those reminders, send a email to the whole class telling them how proud you are of everybody for turning in their assignments on time, or how impressed you were with the discussion content for the week, things like that. Those things can really go a long way in helping the students feel included. Phone conversations. I always add my phone number at the end of every announcement. I know a lot of people don't like to do this, but I encourage the students to text me if they have a problem. And I thought I would get bombarded with texts, but I don't. Every once in a while, I will get a text with a question, and I like that because sometimes I'm not always checking my email. Maybe I'm out doing something or I'm somewhere else, and a student has a problem and they need the answer quickly because they're working on their homework. You can quick text them back with an answer if you have it. And it's a way that they can just feel like they're part of the classroom and that they don't have to wait, and it's not so different from the traditional classroom. So there's just, keeping up with phone conversations, texting. You can use Google Voice, things like that, to use some more technologies in your classroom. But it makes the students feel like they're important. This is just an additional technology. It says when you communicate, you don't have to use traditional text style like bold or black, texting. You can brighten it up with colors. You can make it bold. You can make it italics. You can do things like that. You can even show pictures of your family on an announcement or something that just kind of makes it more personal for the students. A few weeks ago, my sister-in-law had a baby, which is my new niece. So I posted a picture in the announcement saying, "Hey, everybody, check out my niece. She, came into the world on March the 3rd." And they just like that. It makes them feel like they're part of a community, that they're part of the classroom, that they're not just an email on the other side of the computer, that they're not just a student that you don't know. It puts a face, with things. It puts a personalized image that they can relate to. And the students love that. They love it when I post stuff like that. So just, I don't want you to get like crazy personal with the students. Like, me and my husband got in a big fight last night, but fun things, my son graduated. Check out his picture. I have a new niece. Look at my new kitchen cabinets, or just something, to just kind of make them feel like they're important in your life, because they want to know that. When you're in the traditional classroom, a lot of times teachers will share, things with their students or share pictures. And when we get in the online environment, we don't do that as often. So as long as it's in a professional manner, I think it's totally appropriate to sometimes post a picture of your family. Let them know, how many kids you have and things like that. It can go a long way. So, the importance of community in the online classroom. In an article stating the importance of online community in the class, the author stated that 85% of students and 100% of instructors perceive being part of a learning community assists students in performing well and learning course material. So, for students, 85% stated that becoming part of a community was important to them in a specific course, and 94% reported experiencing a sense of community in their course. 93% of instructors stated that it was important to them to have students become part of a learning community in this specific course. So, looking at these statistics, it's proven that if you go the extra step to make your students feel like they're part of a online community, it can help with their learning process. So you might have better attendance. You might have better grades if you just go the extra step. And you guys, a lot of times it doesn't take a lot. I mean, look at what we've talked about. You can post an announcement, an extra announcement. That takes what, 5 minutes? You can go into the discussion area and post a video. What does that take? 5 minutes? It doesn't take a lot of time to do that. Look up some articles. send out an encouraging email. These are things that we don't think of, and they're really not big time consumers, but they can make such a huge difference in your classroom as far as student participation and positivity. So in conclusion, by using the technologies already present in the online classroom, using social media where the majority of students are already present, and by opening the communication links for your students, an educator can easily build a community with the students in an online classroom. So take the time to think about the things that I've talked about today. Think about what best fits you. Maybe all of them best fit you, maybe some of them. Maybe you'd like to try adding a Facebook group to your class. Maybe you just want to start doing more in the discussion area as far as videos and articles and images. Maybe you want to just commit to adding a middle of the week announcement talking about encouraging thoughts or reminders for assignments, things like that. Maybe you want to send a weekly email to the students, updating them on things going on in the classroom or telling them that they're doing a good job or talking about things that need to be improved, anything. You can use one or some or all of these to make your classroom a better place to build a community. Well, that's all that I have for you today. I really appreciate everybody that's listening. I hope that you will think about this and use these technologies as you move forward as an online educator. Thank you so much for joining me.